The aroma of roasting chicken and cinnamon filled the air, mixing with the joyous sounds of children's laughter and clinking glasses. It was Thanksgiving Day, and our house was bustling with activity. My husband Peter and I were hosting our annual Friendsgiving feast, and I wouldn't have traded that scene for the world. Yet despite the merriment, my gaze kept drifting to the far corner of the room where my 92-year-old grandmother sat quietly. Her frail figure seemed even smaller in the vastness of our living room, her cloudy eyes staring into the flickering flames of the fireplace. Noticing my worried look, Peter followed my gaze and furrowed his brow. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice barely audible above the din. I nodded, forcing a smile. "Just a bit overwhelmed with all the activity," I lied, my heart aching for my grandmother. Truthfully, I was worried sick about her. She hadn't spoken much since arriving, and her distant gaze hinted at a loneliness that tugged at my soul. After a frantic morning of cooking and last-minute preparations, I'd placed my grandmother in the living room near the fireplace, thinking the warmth might cheer her up. But now I wasn't so sure. The lively chatter and laughter seemed to bounce off her like an intruder, unable to pierce the wall that had risen around her. As the evening deepened and dinner drew closer, I found myself stealing glances at my grandmother more frequently. Each time I saw her, her isolation seemed to grow. The vibrant hues of the hand-woven rug beneath her feet, the patterns of sunlight filtering through the window panes, the contours of her wrinkled hands. Resting on her lap, all these details screamed to me that I wasn't paying enough attention. Yet I hesitated. How could I tear myself away from the kitchen, from ensuring that our guests felt welcome, from making this Thanksgiving memorable? I was caught in the crossfire of responsibilities, my desire to honor my grandmother warring with the demands of the moment. Then, as I turned from the oven with a tray of golden-hued sweet potatoes, I saw her, my young daughter, Lily, skipping towards my grandmother with a drawing in her hand. My heart skipped a beat. Would Lily sense her grandmother's withdrawal, or would she simply greet her with the same unadulterated joy she'd bestowed upon everyone? To my immense relief, Lily did something remarkable. She knelt beside my grandmother, her small face beaming with love as she showed her the drawing. "Look, Grandma!" she exclaimed, her voice ringing with happiness. "I made this for you. It's you and me holding hands." My grandmother's face, which had been etched with distant sorrow, suddenly lit up. She reached out a shaky hand, her fingers curling around Lily's drawing. Her cloudy eyes, which had seemed to stare beyond the world, focused on Lily with newfound clarity. A faint smile touched her lips, her gaze brimming with a mixture of surprise and gratitude. In that instant, I understood. It wasn't just about the drawing. It was about the intention, the love, the connection that transcended age and understanding. Lily had bridged the gap between my grandmother's solitude and the warmth of our gathering, reminding me of something essential. Sometimes the simplest acts of love can break through the barriers of grief, memory loss, or disconnection. As I watched them, an unexpected surge of affection washed over me. I felt an overwhelming need to ensure this moment of connection lasted. Quickly wiping my flour-dusted hands on my apron, I joined them, kneeling beside Lily. "That's beautiful, Grandma," I said softly, my voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, my love," my grandmother replied, her voice raspy, but filled with genuine appreciation. Gently, I took the drawing from her, its edges slightly crumpled from her grasp. I could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on me. It wasn't just a drawing, it was a lifeline, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope and connection can bloom. I glanced at Peter, his eyes mirroring my awe as he witnessed the transformation in our grandmother. In that shared look, we pledged silently to make this day special for her, to weave this memory into the tapestry of our lives. Once dinner was served, I found myself seated next to my grandmother. As we ate, Lily, bless her innocent heart, peppered my grandmother with questions about her life, her childhood, her dreams. Each question was met with a patient answer, each topic weaving a new thread in the fabric of our family history. My grandmother, who had seemed so distant just moments before, was now animated, her eyes sparkling with life. Over the clatter of dishes and the murmur of conversation, I heard my grandmother recount tales of her youth, of a simpler time when life's challenges seemed smaller and dreams burned brighter. She spoke of her late husband, my grandfather, with a tenderness that melted my heart. Hearing these stories, I realized I knew so little about the woman I call grandmother. There was so much more to her than the quiet, reserved figure I'd come to know in recent years. As the evening wore on, I continued to steal glances at my grandmother. Each time I looked at her, I saw a different person, someone stronger, braver, and more resilient than I'd ever imagined. Her hands, which had seemed so fragile earlier, now told tales of a life well lived. Her eyes, which had appeared cloudy, now twinkled with mischief and wisdom. When it was time for dessert, I surprised everyone by placing an old photo album on the table. Inside its worn pages lay faded photographs of my grandmother at various stages of her life. With each turn of the page, gasps and murmurs rippled through the room. There was my grandmother as a young girl with pigtails bouncing, a teenager with a mischievous grin, and a radiant bride on her wedding day. Seeing these images, I saw not just my grandmother, but a reflection of our family's history. As I flipped through the album, I noticed a picture that stopped me in my tracks. It was a photograph of my grandparents on their wedding day, their eyes locked in a gaze that spoke volumes of their love. Beneath the image was an inscription, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death do us part. These vows, penned by my grandfather, echoed the depth of their bond and served as a testament to the enduring nature of their relationship. That night, as we prepared to say our goodbyes, my grandmother pulled me aside. Her touch was shaky, yet her grip was firm. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "For helping me remember." I cupped her hand, my heart swelling with love. "We should do this more often," I replied, my voice catching. As our guests departed, the house gradually emptied. It was just Peter, me, and our daughters, along with my grandmother. We sat quietly for a while, each lost in thought, the echoes of the day still resonating around us. Finally, Peter broke the silence. "Your grandmother is so fortunate to have you," he said softly, his gaze fixed on the flickering flames in the fireplace. "And you," I replied, turning to him, "are the best husband and father a woman could ask for." We shared a knowing smile, our bond strengthened by the day's events. Later that night, after tucking Lily into bed, Peter and I returned to the living room. The fire had died down to embers, casting long shadows on the walls. My grandmother was asleep, her breathing soft and even. Gently, we helped her into her wheelchair and wheeled her toward the guest room. As I tucked her in, I brushed a strand of hair away from her forehead. Looking at her peaceful, sleeping face, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. This night, this day had been more than just a friendsgiving. It had been a journey of remembrance, a celebration of life, and a testament to the enduring power of family and love. From that day forward, we made sure that my grandmother's stories didn't fade into oblivion. Every Sunday became Grandma's story time for Lily and our younger daughter, where we would gather around, sip hot chocolate, and listen as she wove tales of her extraordinary life. I learned that life isn't just about the moments we share, but also the stories we carry within us. And sometimes it takes a child's innocent gesture or a quiet moment of reflection to help us see the beauty in the tapestry of our lives.